Captain Jake Martinez sat in his command chair aboard the human patrol ship Liberty's Edge. The stars outside looked the same as always, cold, distant, and endless. He had been patrolling this section of space for 3 months now, and nothing interesting ever happened out here near the Kepler Nebula. Most days, Jake wondered why the Federation even bothered sending human ships to guard the Outer Rim territories. The bridge was quiet except for the soft hum of the ship's engines. Navigator Lisa Park checked her instruments for the 100th time that day. Engineer Tony Rodriguez was somewhere in the engine room, probably fixing something that didn't need fixing just to stay busy. Communications Officer Amy Chen sat at her station, listening to the empty static of space. Medical Officer Dr. Carl Williams was in his office, reading medical journals about alien species he hoped he would never have to treat. Jake looked at the clock on his screen. 2 more hours until their shift ended. Then they would turn around and patrol the same empty space tomorrow. He sometimes missed the excitement of his younger days, when human ships actually encountered pirates or smugglers. Now that the Federation had better security, patrol duty meant flying around in circles and seeing nothing. Amy suddenly sat up straight at her station. She pressed her earpiece closer and frowned. "Captain, I'm picking up something unusual." Jake turned toward her. "Finally, something different." "What kind of something?" "It's very weak, sir. Barely coming through. But it sounds like a distress signal." Amy worked at her controls, trying to make the signal clearer. "The language is not in our database. It's completely unknown." Lisa looked up from her navigation console. "Where is it coming from?" Amy pointed at the main screen. "The Crimson Sector, sir. About 6 light years from our current position." Jake felt his stomach drop. Everyone in the Federation knew about the Crimson Sector. It was a region of space that killed ships. Radiation storms swept through it constantly. Massive asteroids floated in chaotic patterns. Strange parasites lived in the void, eating any ship that stayed too long. No Federation vessel had successfully crossed the Crimson Sector in over 50 years. "Are you sure the signal is coming from there?" Jake asked. Amy nodded. "Positive, sir. And Captain, I'm running it through the translation matrix now. The computer is starting to understand some of the words." The bridge fell silent as everyone waited. Tony must have heard the excitement in their voices because he came up from the engine room. Dr. Williams appeared from his office. All 5 crew members gathered around Amy's station. The computer finished its work. A voice came through. The speakers strange and musical but clearly desperate. The translation appeared on Amy's screen as the alien spoke. "This is Commander Veltar of the colony ship Harmony's Dream. We carry 50,000 civilians from the dying world of Zaylan. Our ship is trapped in the radiation storms of what you call the Crimson Sector. We have been broadcasting this message for 37 days. Our life support systems are failing. We estimate 6 days before complete failure. Please, if anyone receives this message, we need help. Our people are dying. Please help us." The message repeated. Jake stared at the screen, feeling the weight of 50,000 lives pressing down on him. 50,000 beings were trapped in the most dangerous region of space, and they had been calling for help for over a month. "Has anyone else responded to this signal?" Jake asked. Amy shook her head. "I've been monitoring Federation frequencies, sir. No response from any ship or station. I don't think anyone else has even heard it. The signal is too weak and most ships stay far away from the Crimson Sector." Tony crossed his arms. "Captain, you know what they say about that place. Ships go in, ships don't come out. The radiation alone would cook most species." Lisa pulled up star charts on her console. "The Federation has the Crimson Sector marked as a no-fly zone. Standing orders are to avoid it completely." Dr. Williams looked worried. "We don't know anything about these Zalani people. We don't know their biology, their needs, or even if we can help them if we find them." Jake understood their concerns. The smart thing would be to report the distress signal to Federation Command and let someone else handle it. That was proper procedure. That was the safe choice. But Jake also knew how long it would take for the Federation to organize a rescue mission. They would need to form committees, study the problem, and debate the risks. By the time they decided to act, The Zilani would be dead. How long would it take us to reach them? Jake asked Lisa. Lisa worked at her console for a moment. At maximum speed, 18 hours to reach the edge of the Crimson Sector. After that, it depends on how deep they are inside. And our ship's radiation shielding? Tony thought for a moment. Better than most Federation ships, sir. We're built to handle rough conditions, but the Crimson Sector is beyond rough. Jake looked at each member of his crew. He saw fear in their eyes, but also determination. They were human. Their species had survived on a planet that tried to kill them every day. They had evolved to face impossible odds and find a way through. Amy, can you boost the signal? Send a response? Amy worked at her controls. I can try, sir. It will take most of our power reserves, but I can get a message through. Do it. Tell them help is coming. Amy's fingers flew over her keyboard. She composed a message in the Zilani language, using the translation matrix to convert her words. Commander Veltar, this is Captain Jake Martinez of the human ship Liberty's Edge. We have received your distress call. We are coming to get you. Hold on. She sent the message and looked at Jake. It's done, sir. Tony shook his head. Captain, are you sure about this? We're talking about entering the most dangerous region in this part of the galaxy. Jake stood up and looked at the main screen, where the Crimson Sector appeared as a red glow against the stars. Somewhere in that deadly maze, 50,000 people were dying. Tony, how long would you want to wait for help if you were trapped out there? Tony was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded. I'll prep the engines for hard burn, sir. Lisa began plotting their course. I'll find us the safest route I can, Captain. Doctor. Williams headed back to his office. I'll research what I can about Zilani biology from the Federation database. Amy continued monitoring the weak signal. I'll keep listening for more information from their ship. Jake settled back into his command chair. In 18 hours, they would enter a region of space that had killed every ship that tried to cross it. They were going to attempt a rescue that no other species in the Federation would even consider. But that was what humans did. When someone called for help, they answered. No matter how dangerous, no matter how impossible. Lisa, set course for the Crimson Sector, maximum speed. Course laid in, Captain. Tony, give me everything the engines have got. Engines at full power, sir. Jake watched the stars begin to move faster as their ship accelerated toward danger. Somewhere ahead, 50,000 aliens were waiting for a miracle. They were about to get one. The Liberty's Edge raced through space toward the Crimson Sector. Jake watched his crew work with quiet efficiency. They had 16 hours before reaching the danger zone, and everyone knew they needed to prepare for the worst. Tony had been in the engine room for 6 straight hours making modifications. He came to the bridge covered in grease and sweat. Captain, I've boosted our maneuvering thrusters by 40%. If we need to dodge fast, we can do it. I've also reinforced the radiation shielding around critical systems. Lisa looked up from her navigation console. I've been studying every scan we have of the Crimson Sector. The radiation storms move in patterns. If I time it right, I can find us windows of lower radiation to fly through. Dr. Williams brought a data pad with him from the medical bay. I found some information about the Zilani in the Federation database. They're silicon-based life forms with crystalline bone structures. Very beautiful, but extremely fragile compared to humans. What's worse, they have no natural resistance to radiation. What we might consider a mild dose could kill them in hours. Amy continued monitoring the weak signal from the trapped ship. I'm getting more information from their transmissions, Captain. Their ship is called Harmony's Dream, and it's not like anything in our database. It appears to be partially biological, grown rather than built. Jake nodded. Keep listening. Every piece of information might save lives. The hours passed slowly. As they got closer to the Crimson Sector, everyone could feel the tension building. Jake had led his crew through dangerous situations before, but nothing like this. They were about to enter a graveyard of ships. Captain, Lisa called out. We're approaching the edge of the sector. I'm picking up massive radiation readings. Temperature fluctuations are extreme, and the asteroid field is worse than our charts showed. On the main screen, the Crimson Sector appeared before them. It looked like a red storm frozen in space. Massive chunks of rock tumbled through waves of deadly energy. Lightning-like discharges jumped between asteroids. It was beautiful and terrifying. "Amy, any word from the Zilani ship?" Jake asked. "Still broadcasting, sir, but the signal is getting weaker. I estimate their power reserves are almost gone." Jake took a deep breath. "All right, people. This is it. Tony, bring us to yellow alert. Lisa, take us in on your safest route. Amy, keep monitoring all frequencies. Dr. Williams, prepare the medical bay for possible casualties." The Liberty's Edge crossed into the Crimson Sector. Immediately, alarms began sounding. The ship's hull groaned as radiation washed over them. The lights flickered as their shielding absorbed massive amounts of energy. "Radiation levels are high but manageable," Tony reported. "Our modifications are holding." Lisa guided them through the asteroid field with careful precision. Rocks the size of cities drifted past their ship. Some glowed with internal heat. Others sparkled with frozen gases. "There's a clear path ahead, Captain. Following it now." They flew deeper into the sector. The radiation got stronger. The asteroids got bigger. Strange lights flickered in the distance. Jake had heard stories about the things that lived in the Crimson Sector, but he had never believed them. Now he was not so sure. "Contact," Amy shouted suddenly. "I'm getting a much stronger signal. Dead ahead, about 50 kilometers. On the screen, a massive shape appeared through the red haze. The Zilani ship was unlike anything Jake had ever seen. It looked more like a giant flower than a spacecraft. Delicate, curved structures spiraled outward from a central core. Beautiful, patterns of light pulsed along its surface, but the light was growing dim. "My God," Dr. Williams whispered. "It's incredible." Lisa brought them closer. "Captain, I'm reading massive damage to their hull. Whatever happened to them, they took a beating getting this far." Amy worked frantically at her console. "I'm establishing communication now. Patching through the universal translator." A new voice came through the speakers. It sounded like music mixed with wind chimes, but the words were clear through translation. "Unknown vessel, this is Commander Veltar of the Harmony's Dream. Please identify yourself." Jake activated the communication system. "Commander Veltar, this is Captain Jake Martinez of the human ship Liberty's Edge. We received your distress call. We're here to help." There was a long pause. When the alien voice returned, it sounded shocked. "Did you say human? You are from the Deathworld Earth?" "That's right, Commander. We're here to get you out of this sector." Another pause. "Captain Martinez, with great respect, no Federation ship has ever successfully crossed the Crimson Sector. How did you survive the radiation storms?" Tony grinned at his console. "Tell him we're tougher than we look, Captain." "Commander, humans are built to handle harsh conditions. What matters now is getting your people to safety. What's your status?" "We have 50,000 civilians aboard, Captain. Our biohull has been damaged by the radiation. Our power systems are failing. We estimate 4 days of life support remaining, possibly less." Dr. Williams studied the readings from the alien ship. "Captain, their life signs are very weak. The radiation has been poisoning them slowly. If we don't get them out soon, they won't survive the journey to safety." Jake made a quick decision. "Commander Veltar, we're going to dock with your ship. We'll transfer emergency power and medical supplies while we plan your evacuation." "Captain Martinez, that is very generous, but I must warn you. We have detected something else in this sector, something that has been stalking us for days. We believe it is drawn to our ship's bioenergy signature." Amy's console suddenly erupted with warning signals. "Captain, I'm picking up something massive on long-range sensors. It's moving toward us through the asteroid field." Lisa's face went pale as she read her instruments. "Sir, whatever it is, it's over 1 kilometer long, and it's moving fast, and the main screen." Something dark began to emerge from behind a massive asteroid. It looked like a living shadow with too many teeth. Its presence seemed to make the space around it darker. "Void Leviathan," Dr. Williams breathed. "I thought they were just stories." The creature let out a sound that came through space itself, a hunting cry that made everyone on the bridge feel cold fear. Amy grabbed her console as the psychic scream hit the ship. All Zilani crew members have collapsed. Commander Veltar's voice came through, weak and strained. The creature's mental attack has paralyzed my people. We are defenseless. Jake felt the fear trying to creep into his mind, but he pushed it away. Humans had faced monsters before. Tony, can you get us more speed? Already working on it, Captain. Lisa, plot us a course that keeps that thing away from the Zilani ship. Plotting now, sir. Jake opened the communication channel. Commander Veltar, we're going to lead this creature away from you. Use whatever power you have left to prepare for emergency jump. Captain, you cannot fight a void Leviathan. No ship has ever survived an encounter with one. Jake looked at his crew. Amy was scared but determined. Lisa was calculating impossible flight paths. Tony was pushing their engines beyond safe limits. Dr. Williams was preparing medical supplies for injuries they might not survive to need. They were human. They were from a death world that had tried to kill them every day of their evolution. They had survived ice ages, meteor impacts, and countless predators. One more monster was just another challenge. Commander, you're about to learn something about humans. We don't back down from bullies. Jake turned to his crew. All right, people. That thing wants to hunt something from a death world. Let's show it what Earth taught us about being predators. The void Leviathan roared again and began its attack run. But this time, it was hunting creatures that had been bred by a planet that never showed mercy. The real battle was about to begin. The void Leviathan moved through space like a nightmare made real. Its body twisted and changed shape as it flew, sometimes looking like a giant snake, sometimes like a massive spider. Dark energy crackled around it as it approached the two ships. Jake watched the creature on his screen and felt his crew's fear. But beneath the fear, he felt something else. The cold anger that had helped humans survive on Earth for millions of years. This thing wanted to hurt innocent people. That made it an enemy. Lisa, take us between the Leviathan and the Zilani ship. Use the asteroid field for cover. Lisa's hands moved quickly over her controls. Course set, Captain, putting us in the creature's path. The Liberty's Edge moved to intercept the monster. Jake opened the communication channel to the Zilani ship. Commander Veltar, can you hear me? The alien's voice was weak. Yes, Captain, but my crew is still paralyzed by the creature's psychic attack. We cannot move or defend ourselves. Don't worry about defending. Just focus on getting your people ready to jump out of here. We'll handle the monster. Amy looked at Jake with surprise. Captain, how are we going to handle something that big? Our weapons are designed for ships, not space creatures. Dr. Williams was studying the readings from the Leviathan. The creature feeds on bioenergy, Captain. It's been stalking the Zilani ship because their biological technology produces the kind of energy it needs to survive. Tony came up from the engine room. Captain, I've got an idea. This thing might be big and scary, but it's still just an animal, and every animal has weaknesses. What kind of weaknesses? Jake asked. Look at how it moves. It's using the asteroids for cover, just like we are. It's smart enough to avoid the worst radiation storms. That means it can be hurt by the same things that hurt us. Lisa suddenly understood. The radiation storms. If we could lead it into one of the strongest storms, it might not kill it, but it would definitely hurt it. Tony finished. Jake looked at the tactical display. A massive radiation storm was building about 10 kilometers away. The energy readings were off the charts. Amy, can you make noise with our communications array? Something loud enough to get that thing's attention? Amy worked at her console. I can broadcast on all frequencies at maximum power. It will be like screaming in space. Do it, make it mad. Amy activated the communications array. A harsh, piercing sound filled space around them. The void Leviathan immediately turned toward their ship, abandoning its approach to the Zilani vessel. It's working, Lisa reported. The creature is changing. Course, it's coming straight for us. Jake felt his heart racing, but his voice stayed calm. Tony, give me everything the engines have. Lisa, plot a course through that radiation storm. Make it as dangerous as possible. Captain, that storm will push our shielding to the breaking point, Tony warned. Better than being eaten by a space monster. Do it. The Liberty's edge accelerated toward the storm. Behind them, the void Leviathan followed, its hunting cry echoing through space. The creature was gaining on them, its massive form cutting through the asteroid field like it was empty space. "Storm in 30 seconds, Lisa called out. "Radiation levels are climbing fast." Jake opened the channel to the Zilani ship. "Commander, Veltar, as soon as we lead this thing away, you need to jump. Don't wait for us." "Captain Martinez, you are sacrificing yourselves for people you have never met. Why?" The question caught Jake off guard. Why were they risking everything for aliens they didn't know? He thought about it for a moment, then realized the answer was simple. "Because it's the right thing to do, Commander. That's what humans do." Entering. "The storm now!" Lisa shouted. The Liberty's edge plunged into the radiation storm. Immediately, alarms began screaming. The lights flickered as waves of deadly energy washed over their ship. The hull groaned under the stress. "Shielding at 80%, Tony reported through gritted teeth. The void Leviathan followed them into the storm without hesitation. But as the radiation hit its body, the creature let out a scream of pain. Its form began to shimmer and waver. "It's working," Amy shouted. "The radiation is hurting it." But the creature was also getting angry. It pushed through the pain and continued chasing them. Its massive jaws opened, revealing rows of teeth that seemed to bend space around them. "It's still coming," Lisa said, "and we're running out of storm." Jake looked at the tactical display. They were almost through the radiation storm, and the Leviathan was still behind them. The plan had hurt the creature but not stopped it. "Tony, what else can we use against this thing?" Tony thought quickly. "Captain, what if we don't try to kill it? What if we just make it not want to eat us?" "How do we do that?" "Every predator on Earth learns the same lesson eventually. Some prey fights back hard enough that it's not worth the effort. We make ourselves too much trouble." Jake smiled grimly. "You want to teach a space monster that humans are dangerous?" "Exactly. Amy, can you overload our weapons array? Create a feedback pulse?" Amy worked frantically. "I can, but it will damage our systems, and the energy release will be massive." "Do it right when that thing gets close enough." The void Leviathan was gaining on them as they left the radiation storm. Its body was damaged from the energy, but it was still determined to feed. It opened its jaws wide as it approached their ship. "Now!" Jake shouted. Amy triggered the weapons. Overload. A massive pulse of energy erupted from the Liberty's edge, hitting the Leviathan at point-blank range. The creature screamed and recoiled, its form flickering between dimensions. But the pulse did more than hurt the monster. It also sent a clear message. The humans had deliberately damaged their own ship to fight back. They were willing to sacrifice their technology, their safety, even their lives rather than be easy prey. The void Leviathan floated in space for a moment, studying the small human ship. Then, with what might have been respect, it turned away and disappeared into the asteroid field. It would hunt easier prey. "It's leaving," Lisa said with amazement. Jake opened the channel to the Zilani ship. "Commander Veltar, the creature is gone. What's your status?" "Captain Martinez, my crew is recovering from the psychic attack. We have enough power for one jump, but our destination must be close. Plot a course for Federation space. We'll escort you as far as we can." Tony looked at his damage reports. "Captain, we've got problems. The weapons overload damaged our navigation systems, and our engines are running on backup power." Dr. Williams checked his medical scanners. "I'm also picking up some concerning readings from the Zilani ship. Their people are more damaged by the radiation than they initially reported." Jake realized their troubles were not over. They had defeated the monster, but now both ships were crippled in the most dangerous region of space, and the Zilani were sicker than anyone had realized. "Amy, send a message to Federation Command. Tell them we need immediate assistance in the Crimson Sector." "Sir, it will take days for help to reach us here. Do we have that long?" Jake looked at his crew. They had just faced down a creature that was supposed to be impossible to defeat. They had used human cunning, courage, and stubbornness to survive. Now they faced a different kind of challenge. "We'll make it," Jake said firmly. "We didn't come this far to give up now. Commander Veltar's voice came through the speakers. Captain Martinez, our medical teams report that several of our people are in critical condition. They need treatment that our damaged systems cannot provide. Dr. Williams stood up. Captain, I'll need to go over to their ship. I don't know their biology, but I have to try. Jake nodded. Prepare for emergency medical assistance. We're going to save these people, no matter what it takes. Outside, the Crimson Sector continued its deadly dance of radiation and stone. But inside the two ships, human determination was about to meet alien hope. The real test was just beginning. Dr. Williams floated through the docking tube that connected the Liberty's Edge to the Zilani ship. He had never seen anything like the Harmony's dream up close. The walls seemed alive, pulsing with soft light. Strange patterns flowed across, the surfaces like flowing water. Commander Veltar met him at the airlock. The alien was tall and graceful, with skin that looked like polished crystal. His eyes glowed with a soft blue light, but Williams could see pain and worry in them. Dr. Williams, thank you for coming. I must warn you, our ship is very different from yours. We grow our vessels rather than build them. Everything you see is alive in some way. Williams nodded as he followed the commander through corridors that curved like the inside of a seashell. I understand, Commander. I've brought medical supplies that should work with silicon-based biology. Where are your sick people? This way. But doctor, there is something you must know. The radiation has not just made our people sick. It has damaged the ship itself. Our biosystems are dying. Soon we will have no power, no life support, no navigation. They entered a large chamber filled with Zilani people lying on what looked like flower petals. Some were barely conscious. Others were completely still. Williams had never seen anything so beautiful and so sad at the same time. How many are critically ill? Williams asked. Nearly 2,000, Doctor. And more are getting worse every hour. Williams felt overwhelmed. 2,000 patients with biology he barely understood. His medical training had covered basic alien physiology, but nothing like this. Still, he had to try. He opened his medical kit and began scanning the nearest patient. The readings were confusing at first, but slowly he began to understand. The radiation had damaged their internal crystal structures. It was like their bones were slowly turning to dust. Commander, I can help some of them, but I need your medical team to work with me. I need to understand how your bodies heal. Meanwhile, back on the Liberty's Edge, Jake was dealing with his own problems. Tony had given him the bad news about their ship. Captain, we're in serious trouble. The weapons overload damaged more than just navigation. Our life support is running on emergency power. Our communications are barely working. And worst of all, our jump drive is completely dead. Amy looked up from her console. I've been monitoring Federation frequencies, sir. No response to our distress call. We're too deep in the Crimson Sector for normal communications to reach outside. Lisa studied her charts. Even if our engines were working perfectly, it would take us weeks to fly out of this sector at normal speed. We don't have weeks. Jake felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. Not only did he have his own crew to worry about, but 50,000 Zilani lives depended on their decisions. What about the Zilani ship? Can they jump out? Tony shook his head. I've been talking to their engineers. Their biosystems are too damaged. They have maybe 6 hours of power left. After that, everything shuts down. Jake made a decision that surprised everyone. Then we combine our ships. Sir? Amy asked. We transfer our power systems to their ship. Use our technology to boost their biosystems. It might give them enough power to jump. Tony stared at him. Captain, if we do that, we'll be stranded here. Our ship won't have enough power to survive. Tony, there are 5 of us and 50,000 of them. The math is simple. Lisa looked worried. But Captain, even if we could transfer our power, would it be enough? And how would we even connect our systems to theirs? We'll figure it out, we always do. Over the next few hours, something amazing happened. The two crews began working together in ways no one had thought possible. Tony and the Zilani engineers found ways to connect human technology to living biosystems. Amy learned to communicate directly with the ship's biocomputers using her neural interface training. Dr. Williams worked alongside Zilani healers, combining human medicine with their crystal-based healing techniques. He couldn't save everyone, but he was saving more than he had thought possible. Captain Martinez, Commander Veltar, called over the communication system. "Your Dr. Williams is remarkable. He has adapted to our biology faster than our own medical students. He is thinking of solutions we never considered." Jake smiled. "That's what humans do, Commander. We adapt." But as the hours passed, new problems appeared. Lisa discovered something troubling in the ship's navigation systems. "Captain, I've been analyzing the data from both ships. The damage patterns don't make sense. The radiation storms in this sector are natural, but some of the damage looks deliberate." Amy had been monitoring all communication frequencies when she made a shocking discovery. "Captain, I'm picking up artificial signals from deep in the sector. Someone else is here." Tony looked up from his work connecting power systems. "What kind of someone?" "Unknown, but the signals are encrypted, and they're coming from a fixed position, like a base or station." Jake felt a cold chill. "Lisa, could someone be using this sector as a hiding place?" "It would be perfect, Captain. No Federation ships patrol here. Anything could be hidden in the asteroid field." Dr. Williams returned from the Zilani ship with disturbing news. "Captain, I've been studying the radiation damage patterns on their people. This wasn't random exposure. Someone deliberately exposed them to specific types of radiation." Commander Veltar's voice came through the speakers, filled with new understanding. "Captain Martinez, we were not simply unlucky travelers. We were hunted. Someone drove us into this sector on purpose." Jake felt anger building inside him. "Amy, can you trace those signals?" "Working on it now, sir. The source is about 50 kilometers deeper into the sector. It's well hidden behind a cluster of large asteroids." "What are the chances this is connected to what happened to the Zilani?" Lisa ran calculations on her console. "Captain, I've been studying the asteroid patterns. There are clear navigation routes through this sector, but they're hidden. Someone who knew about them could guide ships in and trap them." Tony finished connecting the last power coupling. "Power transfer is complete. Captain, the Zilani ship now has enough energy for one jump, but we're completely drained." Jake made another decision that would change everything. "Commander Veltar, you now have the power to escape. Take your people to safety." "What about you and your crew, Captain?" "We're going to investigate that signal. Someone has been using this sector to trap ships. We're going to stop them." "Captain Martinez, you cannot fight an unknown enemy with a powerless ship." Jake looked at his crew. They were tired, scared, and facing impossible odds with no way home. But they were also angry. Someone had been hurting innocent people, and that was something humans couldn't ignore. "Commander, your people are safe. Now. That's what matters. But we can't leave knowing that others might fall into the same trap." Amy had been working on the signal trace. "Captain, I'm getting clearer readings. It's definitely a base of some kind. Large, well-established, and heavily shielded." Dr. Williams returned to the bridge. "Captain, the Zilani have something they want to give us before they leave." A few minutes later, Commander Veltar himself came aboard the Liberty's Edge. In his crystalline hands, he carried a small, glowing device. "Captain Martinez, this is a bioenergy converter. It will allow your ship to use our remaining bioenergy to restore some of your power. It is not much, but it might be enough." Jake accepted the device. "Commander, you should keep this. You might need it." "No, Captain. You have given us our lives. Now we give you a chance to give others the same gift." The alien looked at each member of the human crew. "We will tell the Federation what you have done here. We will make sure they know that when others would not answer our call, the Deathworlders came." An hour later, the Harmony's Dream jumped to safety, carrying 50,000 grateful Zilani to Federation space. The Liberty's Edge was alone in the Crimson sector, running on borrowed bioenergy and human determination. "Well, people," Jake said to his crew, "we've got enough power for one good fight. Let's go see who's been playing games in our galaxy." The real confrontation was about to begin. The Liberty's Edge moved slowly through the asteroid field toward the hidden signal. Jake watched the energy readings drop steadily. The bioenergy converter from the Zilani gave them power, but not much. They had maybe 2 hours before everything shut down completely. There, Amy pointed at the main screen. Behind that cluster of asteroids, I'm reading massive power signatures. As they moved closer, a huge structure came into view. It looked like a space station built inside a hollowed-out asteroid. Docking bays carved into the rock held dozens of ships. Some looked familiar. Federation, designs that had been reported missing over the years. My God, Lisa whispered. It's a salvage operation. They've been collecting ships that get trapped in the sector. Tony studied the readings. Captain, that station has enough firepower to destroy a small fleet, and I'm reading life signs. Lots of them. Amy worked at her communications console. I'm intercepting their transmissions now. The language is Korthak. They're a criminal syndicate that operates outside Federation space. Dr. Williams looked sick. Captain, if they've been trapping ships for years, what happened to all the crews? Jake didn't want to think about that answer. The Korthak were known for selling people into slavery. Anyone who survived their ship being captured would wish they hadn't. Amy, can you get us closer without being detected? I can try, sir. Their sensors are focused outward, watching for new ships to trap. They might not notice us if we stay in the asteroid shadows. They moved carefully through the rocks. As they got closer, Jake could see the full scope of the operation. The station was huge, with multiple levels carved deep into the asteroid. Ships came and went regularly. This wasn't just a hideout. It was a major criminal base. Captain, Tony said quietly, we can't fight that thing. We barely have enough power to keep life support running. Jake knew Tony was right. The smart thing would be to gather information and retreat, report to Federation Command and let them handle it. But Jake also knew that would take months. By then the Korthak would be gone, taking their victims with them. Amy, can you get into their communication system? I've been trying, sir. Their security is good, but I think I can crack it. Give me a few more minutes. Lisa looked worried. Captain, what are you thinking? I'm thinking these people have been hurting innocent travelers for years. I'm thinking about all the crews that sent distress calls that no one answered. I'm thinking someone needs to stop this. Dr. Williams understood what Jake was planning. Captain, there are 5 of us and probably thousands of them. Doctor, there were 5 of us and 1 Void Leviathan too. We managed that. Amy suddenly looked up from her console. I'm in, Captain. I have access to their internal communications and some of their computer systems. What can you see? Amy's face went pale as she read the information. Captain, this is worse than we thought. They're not just salvaging ships. They're deliberately guiding vessels into the sector using fake distress signals. Then they wait for them to get trapped and move in to capture the crews. How many ships? Over the past 5 years, at least 200 vessels. Cargo ships, passenger liners, even some small military patrols. Jake felt cold rage building inside him. 200 ships. Thousands of innocent people. Amy, can you access their station systems? Some of them, sir. Their security isn't designed to keep out someone with human hacking techniques. Tony looked at the captain. Sir, what exactly are you planning? Jake studied the tactical display. The station was powerful, but it was also old and built inside an asteroid. That gave him an idea. Amy, can you access their structural integrity systems? I think so. They have automated systems that monitor the station's stability inside the asteroid. Can you overload them? Amy worked quickly at her console. Captain, if I overload the structural systems, it could cause a cascade failure. The asteroid could collapse. What about the people trapped on that station? Lisa was already running calculations. If we could get their attention and give them a warning, they might have time to evacuate. Dr. Williams looked confused. Captain, why would we warn criminals that we're about to destroy their base? Because we're not like them, Doctor. We don't kill people without giving them a chance. Jake opened a communication channel on all frequencies. Attention, Korthak Station. This is Captain Jake Martinez of the human vessel Liberty's Edge. You have been conducting illegal operations in Federation space. You have exactly 1 hour to evacuate all personnel and release any prisoners you are holding. The response came, quickly. A harsh voice filled with anger. Human ship, you are outnumbered and outgunned. Surrender now, or be destroyed. I don't think you understand, Jake replied calmly. Humans don't surrender. We're giving you 1 hour to do the right thing. After that, we'll do it for you. Amy was working frantically. Captain, I've found the location where they're holding prisoners. There are over 300 people in the detention levels. Can you unlock their cells? Working on it now. Tony looked at the power readings. Captain, we have 40 minutes of power left. If we're going to do this, it has to be soon. Jake made his decision. Amy, unlock all prison cells and activate the station's emergency evacuation procedures. Lisa, plot an escape course through the asteroid field. Tony, give me every bit of power we have left. Sir? Dr. Williams asked. What if they don't evacuate? What if they try to fight? Jake looked at his crew. They had already done the impossible, several times. They had rescued 50,000 people from certain death. They had defeated a void Leviathan. Now they had a chance to shut down a criminal operation that had been hurting innocent people for years. Then they'll learn what happens when you mess with species from Deathworlds. Amy activated the station's emergency systems. Alarms began, blaring throughout the criminal base. Automatic doors opened, releasing hundreds of prisoners. Emergency shuttles began launching from the docking bays. It's working, Amy reported. The prisoners are escaping, but the Korthak are also launching attack ships. A dozen small fighters emerged from the station, heading straight for the Liberty's edge. Their weapons charged up, ready to fire. Jake waited until they were almost in range. Then he gave Amy the signal. Now, Amy triggered the structural overload. Deep inside the asteroid, critical support systems failed. The rock began to crack and shift. The Korthak station, built over decades, started to collapse in minutes. The attacking fighters immediately turned back, trying to escape the falling debris. The entire criminal operation fell apart as the asteroid broke into pieces. All prisoners have been evacuated, Amy reported. Most of the Korthak got out too. Jake nodded. He wasn't a murderer. He just wanted to stop them from hurting more people. Captain, Lisa called out, I'm detecting Federation ships approaching. It looks like a full rescue fleet. Dr. Williams smiled. Commander Veltar must have told them where to find us. Tony looked at the power readings. Just in time too. We're down to life support only. An hour later, Jake stood on the bridge of the Federation cruiser Endeavor. Admiral Patricia Ross looked at the report in her hands with amazement. Captain Martinez, you and your crew have just shut down the largest criminal operation in this sector. The prisoners you freed include people who have been missing for years. Jake shrugged. We just did our job, Admiral. Your job was border patrol, Captain. This was far beyond your mission parameters. Amy spoke up. Admiral, we received a distress call. Humans answer distress calls. The Admiral smiled. Yes, I'm beginning to understand that about your species. 6 months later, Jake was back on patrol aboard the Liberty's Edge. But things were different now. His communication console received messages from all over the galaxy. Not distress calls, thank you messages. The story of the human ship that answered, the call when no one else would, had spread throughout Federation space. Other species were beginning to understand that the dangerous Deathworlders were actually protectors. Amy looked up from her console. Captain, we're receiving another message. It's from the Zilani homeworld. What do they say? They want to name their new colony after our ship, sir. Liberty's Edge Colony. Jake smiled as he looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, people were living free because his crew had decided to answer an SOS call. Somewhere else, criminals thought twice before hurting innocent travelers because they knew the Deathworlders might be listening. That was what humans did. When someone called for help, they answered. When someone needed protection, they provided it. When someone had to make the hard choices, they stepped forward. It was why the galaxy needed Deathworlders. It was why the galaxy was safer, because humans were in it.